Okay, so this video is 1983, Stories from the Dukes of Hazzard, The Legend of Bigfoot. On the last video, I played the story, The Ghost of Hazzard County, from this Dukes of Hazzard audio tape. So if you're ready for more and think you can take it, here's another scary story from it, The Legend of Bigfoot.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Hazzard County. Now, this little old county is generally as peaceful as a mama cat with a new litter of kittens. But every so often, something happens that causes everybody to sit up and take notice. Sometimes it's just an ordinary thing, like last year, when Preacher Melvin's daughter ran off with that feed salesman from Marietta. Or the time Olive Warren's hogs got loose and dug up all the gladiola bulbs in the schoolyard. But recently, there have been some goings-on around here that have caused quite an uproar. I'm not saying I believe it all, and you should feel free to take this tall tale with a generous grain of salt. But I do have to admit that something powerful strange has been going on. It all started about a month and a half ago when Boss Hogg was putting the finishing touches on his new country house. Boss's place was just a stone's throw up the road from Uncle Jesse's house. To say that the Duke boys were displeased at having the low-down polecat like Boss Hogg as a new neighbor is putting it mildly. The whole Duke clan was madder than two wet cats in a burlap bag about the whole thing. But after all, it is a free country, and for better or for worse, Hogg had a perfect right to live anywhere he chose. One hot summer night, Boss Hogg was sitting on his front porch just rocking and being lazy, which comes right natural to a hog. Just when he was about to start in a snort, Boss Hogg heard the strangest sort of howling off in the west woods. This was no dog howling either. It was a wild, spooky kind of howl that made the hairs on Boss Hogg's fat neck start in a tingling. Boss Hogg couldn't for the life of him figure out what was making such a god-awful racket. But whatever it was, I think it's safe to say Hogg didn't like it. The following morning, when Boss Hogg went out to investigate, he saw something which put the fear of the Lord in him. There, in the soft, muddy earth, was a whole set of the biggest, fattest footprints Boss Hogg had ever seen, and that includes his own. These big footprints came up out of the deep woods and stopped no more than 10 yards from Boss Hogg's front porch. Boss Hogg had been hearing the Bigfoot legend ever since he was a little hog, and he never put much credence in it. But now, looking at those footprints and remembering that howl, he was starting to wonder. Now, the Duke boys had heard all those Bigfoot legends too, but they were more inclined towards the practical application of this sort of thing. As long as Bigfoot stayed off their property and concentrated his efforts on old Boss Hogg, Bo and Luke couldn't think of one good reason to get all worked up about it. After all, sometimes these old legends can be downright useful. Picture this, if you will. Boss Hogg in his nightshirt going out to the front porch to put his old yellow cat out for the night. A full moon beaming down through the treetops. Suddenly, just when he's about to go back inside, Boss Hogg hears that howling start up again. Hogg's not sure whether or not it's a Bigfoot, but no matter, he is quite simply not in the mood to be finding out. Just then, that blasted cat lets out a shriek that could raise the dead and runs back in the house. In the commotion, the door swings shut and locks. leaving Boss Hogg staring out at something not very friendly coming up out of the woods. Neither Bo nor Luke were altogether comfortable. Sitting as he was on Bo's shoulders, Luke found it nigh on impossible to see where he was going. They bumped and stumbled their way through the shrubs and seedlings. Besides, it was hotter than the hinges of Hades wrapped up in that moth-eaten bear rug. Poor Bo could barely walk from the weight of those oversized galoshes, but they did believe that all this hard work was going towards a worthy cause. After all, sometimes you just have to take things into your own hands. Boss Hogg's perception of the evening's entertainment was altogether different from Bo and Luke's. If he'd had the car keys to his big white Cadillac, he might have tore up a country road right good. But he didn't. And if he'd had the house keys, he might have been under that big double bed upstairs. But he didn't. All he did have was 2 good legs. And Boss Hogg felt, rightly or wrongly, that the time had come to put them to good use. To this day, the Duke boys still swear they've never seen a man move quite that fast. Boss Hogg's house is on the market now. To hear Hogg tell it, he wouldn't live out there in the country if you paid him. Strangely enough, no one else here in Hazzard County pays much mind to those Bigfoot kind of stories. Least of all the Duke clan. Things are peaceful out there, especially with Boss Hogg out of the picture. After all, it's hard to worry about some monster when you're sitting on the back porch on a warm summer's night, counting lightning bugs.